And we are live, baby. Let me give everybody a second. We live on Facebook. We live on YouTube. And we live on IG. Let's let IG come up real quick. Yeah, we live, baby. What's going on, you? What's going on, y'all? Give me a second. Give me a second. I want to get everything up and running. Make sure everything rocking right. Got our vocals good. Y'all know how we do. Definitely got to do a visual check. So what's going on, y'all? It is your favorite businessman, CEO Rico, on CEO Rico TV. And today, y'all already know it's Friday, 10 o'clock. Y'all rocking with your boy. We about to get it in. We got a few things that we got to go over. So from last week when we had our previous conversation, we are, like I said, we changed the whole format. Now this week I wanted to actually try something different too. So I wanted to bring y'all into the not the conversations, but I wanted to bring some of the podcasts and just channels that I watch on a daily basis or weekly basis, and I wanted to bring that into the conversation with us today. Now, I have a few different reasons on why. A lot of the times, a lot of the things that I actually watch and partake in, is extremely relevant to the conversation that we have. But not only that, I honestly feel like bringing that into what we have going on here, it makes for a much more entertaining segment, and they kind of already have like the structures already structured out to where it's kind of like I don't necessarily say just piggybacking, but it's kind of like I could just grab from that and then we could just keep everything flowing. So that's what I want to do. So first and foremost, how was your week? Mine's at the end of the day, it's always up and down, in my world until things, level out. But for the most part, it's pretty smooth. I got my baby in the studio with me. I told her don't get on camera though, because she look a little crazy. My son was supposed to be down here recording with me, but he is asleep. So he might end up popping in the middle of the broadcast, which is all fine and dandy. So the very first topic that I want to actually get into tonight, it is with somebody that I actually watch on like a daily basis. My man's Anton Daniels. I'm a part of his mentor group called the Bag Chasers. I love his content. Everything he talk about for the most part, it's all on point. So what we actually about to get into the politics, right? So let me pull this up real quick. Real quick, my peoples. Bam. Definitely got to share that audio. Bring that into the fold. Let's get it cracking. So it's a lot going on when it comes to Trump, Elon, and dealing with, the Republican Party, Democratic Party. One thing that I definitely want to say is just by paying attention to everything that has been going on when it comes to politics, it seems like the Democrats do a lot of complaining, a lot of being, and because I'm trying my best not to cuss, so just work with me, but they do a lot of being about nothing. And we about to go into it.
Because they generate some of the most tax revenue inside of the United States of America, if not the most. But they had to then freeze police hirings, cut back on that, cut back on resources that they were given inside of the schools that people paid their property taxes for, and cutting back on sanitation, amongst other things, just so they can house these people in these shelters and these luxury hotels, give them food cards and so on and so forth. But one thing that we don't do, and we neglect it a lot, because the mayors is the faces of the city, but at the same time, the largest city in New York also deserves to extend some of that same responsibility to people like Kathy Hochul. Now, I think that Kathy Hochul As I deep dive into who she is and the things that she's done, I think that she's absolutely deplorable. One of the, if not the worst governor inside of the United States of America. I can't give it to her. I'll probably give her number 3. She probably take place number 3. All right? Because Gavin Newsom definitely take that mantle. And then J.B. Pritzker is running for a close first, definitely right there in the second place. And then you got their mayors that's doing their biddings in some of these cities. Gavin Newsom has Karen Bass. J.B. Pritzker has Brandon Johnson, who we're going to get to that in a minute. And then Kathy Hochul has Eric Adams. The difference is, I'm going to get some water in a minute. The difference is J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson are on the same page when it comes to taking advantage of the people over in Chicago. Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass seems to be on the same page when it comes to taking advantage of the people of Los Angeles and not doing the thing that's in the best interest of the city. Kathy Hochul and Eric Adams on the other end, they're at odds. They're at odds. Largely because Eric Adams is working with the Trump administration. We've covered that. We're going to continue to cover it. But one thing that is absolutely, positively, 100% has to happen is we have to start holding these governors accountable and putting their feet to the fire, not just Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, and Kathy Hochul. And right now, Kathy Hochul is going through a war of words with the Trump administration over congestion pricing. But before we get to that, I want to show you guys some of the things that's happening inside of New York City. Let's get to it.
This is a life and death thing. These are hardworking men and women that come to work every day that just want to go home, okay? And they're afraid to go in there.
A matter of life and death. You just heard from a former corrections officer at Attica Correctional Facility describing the need for change inside state prisons. He's among the voices we're amplifying tonight on what's been a very busy day 3 of the strikes outside of dozens of New York State prisons. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us once again. Just hours ago, the governor announced she is activating more than 3,500 National Guard members to support operations at striking prisons. The number of facilities with employees on the picket line tonight now up to 30. That's according to the union representing these officers, and that includes 5 state prisons right here in Western New York. Now,
so while they're telling ICE, don't work with Eric Adams to deport illegal migrants that have been captured and doing some of the worst crimes inside of your city, there are protests that is not being covered by national news that's happening right in New York, amongst other different issues that is taking place. And Kathy Hochul, who is the governor of New York.
Now, I'm about to let this finish playing in a second. But here's one thing that really blows my mind when you look at different stories when it comes to politics. So a lot of stuff that really blows my mind is you will see the media, they will publicize different points of view where you have people literally just complaining, right? But when you watch this video right here, you got correctional officers, they're actually on strike, and they're going to explain on how the National Guard was actually like enforced. They were activated and they were enforced. But nobody hears these stories. And it always blows my mind because it's like the stuff that gets publicized a lot of the times is really a lot of nonsense. Like a lot of the things that has been publicized over the last few days is everything dealing with like Elon Musk and Doge. Now, remember, Doge is the Department of Government Efficiency. Now, what we all know is they have been finding a lot of money that has been mismanaged. I think right now they actually have a Doge website. Doge has recovered, I think, about $55 billion so far. Now, mind you, Doge has not even, like, the Trump administration has not been in office for that long. They've been there, it's now a month and a day, if I'm not mistaken. And they literally found $50 billion. But you have so many people that are having conversations about Elon Musk having basically having the rights to look at their personal information, which at the end of the day, guys, come on now. Anybody can get your personal information. Literally. I know softwares where you can literally put 2 softwares together and you can literally combine and get somebody's whole social security number. And it's completely legal. It's completely like right there. Like it won't give you every bit and every piece, but you literally put the two softwares together. You get the first 5, you get the last 4. Whole Social Security, and this is information you could just easily get on the internet with no problem. But they don't even have conversations about stuff like this. Let's finish this, and then we're gonna finish having a conversation about it.
Refuse to do a good job for the citizens of New York. You know what she did? You know what she chooses to engage in while she's activating the National Guard and while the prisons are under siege and the people are protesting and everything is going to hell over there in New York City? You know what she decided to do? She decided to go against Trump. Because one of the things that we've been talking about and that's been happening is congestion pricing, which is basically a tax on the people for driving in New York City. They pay for the cars, they pay for the roads, they pay for the tolls, but now they got congestion pricing, which is just another way for them to continue to fleece money, in my opinion, out of the taxpaying citizens and the people of New York City. But
now, for anybody that wants a deeper dive into congestion pricing, this is something that they actually just implemented this year. And so I looked it up, right? So actually, let me share this. Let me show y'all. So what is congestion pricing in New York, right? So it's $9 a day. That's first. And I don't know if anybody has actually taken a toll. Think about like New York and the toll going to New York. $9. That's kind of hefty because if you're going in and out of there, let's say you're like an Uber driver, a cab driver, or whatever, it's $9 a day. So that's going in and out, right? So let's say it's the program, the first of its kind in the nation. Like I just said, they just implemented it. Aims to reduce traffic and pollution on some of the world's most crowded streets and help raise $15 billion in mass transit. It charges most passenger cars $9 to enter a designated tolling zone below 60th Street in Manhattan. So they plan to raise 15 billion and they're gonna charge $9 a day, right? Now that's congestion pricing. Now let's get back into the actual footage.
Trump decided to do something about it. This is what he did.
Breaking right now, an update on those congestion prices over in New York City. Our partners there reporting on that news just moments ago. Let's listen to that.
I'm Jessica Moore with breaking news. We have just learned the Trump administration is pulling the approval for congestion pricing. The Department of Transportation is sending a letter to Governor Hochul this afternoon saying it is, quote, backward and unfair. We have a copy of that letter. It says it's not a fair deal. Everyone should have access to the city, not just the elite. Congressman Mike Lawler tells our Marcia Kramer he was informed today that the decision had been made to end the toll that just went into effect on January 5th. As you know, charges drivers $9 to drive into Manhattan's central business district. And Marcia joins us now with more. Marcia, we barely had 1 month of this, and now it's over. Is it that simple?
Well, the thing about it is this, that President Trump made a promise on the campaign trail that he was going to end congestion pricing. And today, the people who wanted him to make that promise are saying, thank God he made the promise.
So essentially, Trump said no more congestion pricing. And again, I say this for everybody, regardless of whether you like Trump or you like the policies or the things that he promised on the campaign trail. With literally to today, he was inaugurated on January 20th, 2025. It is February 20th, 2025. It seems like he's been in office for 4 years already, and he's only been in office for a month because we've seen more of him every single day, making himself accountable to the reporters, asking unscripted questions, doing the interviews, signing executive orders, trying to end wars, doing all of the fraud government audits and all kind of stuff that's happening out here, designating bathrooms and making sure that men don't go into women's bathrooms and whatever it is that you can think of. Every single thing that he said that he was going to do on the campaign trail, he is doing. You may not have agreed with the thing that he said that he was going to do, but the one thing that you can't say, unlike other politicians, he doesn't lie. He's not going to lie to you and say that I'm going to do this, and then he doesn't do it. He don't at least fight for you. He's not implementing it. He's not signing an executive order. He's not making sure that Congress is aligned. And the one
President Donald Trump
making sure that even though they
So exactly everything in what he's saying, right? I feel the same way. And that's why I don't really understand, like, okay, for the individuals who have a personal issue with Trump, okay, cool. Have your personal issues. I'm not tripping on that. You know, I don't know the man personally. A lot of people don't know the man personally. You know, the only thing that I look at when it comes to the administration, what are you actually doing? Like, that's one thing that I learned when it came to politics. And it was always one of those, the politicians, they'll say certain things, they'll campaign, they'll run, especially when it comes to, like, you know, the Republican, the Democrats. The Democrats always say, oh, we're going to tax the rich. We're going to do this. We're going to look out for the poor, give money back, all these different things, right? But it never happened. It never happened. We always was in situations to where we still would be messed up, you know, deficits, I mean, just a number of things. And so the main thing that I actually always looked for, well, I'm not gonna say always look for, but especially like now, what is the administration going to do as far as infrastructure, as far as providing resources to where we can go out and we can actually obtain, in a sense, financial freedom? Like, I'm not an individual that look for people to sit here and say, you know, give me a handout. That's not me. And I honestly believe that's one of the things that really hinders a lot of adults, is when you have somebody that's basically enabling you to where you don't have to go out there and actually try and compete. Now, I know that, like, you'll see as we get further into the broadcast, that's one thing a lot of people really would like try to argue those points. They're try to, especially, like, you know, the video that we actually about to finish getting into. They were saying how they gonna fight a lot of stuff, but the one thing I never understood was, like, okay, y'all basically are fighting change to transition into the new administration and where we going, right? But everything that y'all been doing, it hasn't been working. Remember, you know, we had the whole migrant crisis, and that's another thing I don't understand either, is like people fighting for the migrants. Now, I'm not saying anything in regards to, you know, like their human rights or nothing like that. No. But where I'm coming from is I don't understand why there are so many people like fighting for them to stay here illegally. That's where I don't get. Now, if any of y'all like know, and y'all can fill me in on it, please enlighten me. Seriously, because this is one of the reasons on why I like to, you know, do the podcast and broadcast, because it opens me up to have the conversations with y'all. Because I honestly, like, when I tell y'all to, like, hit the like button, subscribe, and then drop a comment, I'm not just saying that only for the sole purpose of content. I'm really saying I want to have a conversation with you. So don't ever be scared to drop a comment, because I will comment back. I will respond back to you. I'm not one of them people where it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna respond to you. But fill me in. Why are so many people fighting to keep the migrants here? Where it's like, do y'all not believe that all of the other countries, they basically like open their prisons, and I'm not saying like 100% they all did it. No. But we do know that there's, you know, a number of illegal immigrants, whether they was actually criminals in their own country. We know that they came here. We know that some of the criminals that came here, they committed crimes here. You know, they have caused harm to our citizens, and we know that they are also taking resources from us. Now, whether you grew up poor or you are poor now, why would you want somebody else coming into your home and taking the limited resources that you already have or really don't have? Why would you want somebody to come here and take even more? That's where I really cannot wrap my mind around this. And you got literally politicians and everything campaigning on this and actually trying to teach the migrants on basically how to stay here. Like, I cannot for the life of me understand. And I've heard some people say, in regards to like the labor, like, oh, who's gonna like pick the fruit, or who's gonna do this? And I still don't get it, because it's like, at the end of the day, business wise, I know for a fact, business wise, come on, man, people gonna have people come in here. When it comes to the migrants, you gonna have some illegals that's gonna come in here, that's gonna get busy, do work under the table, stuff like that. But for the life of me, I don't understand why our own citizens are campaigning and protesting and all that for other people to stay here in our house illegally. That's what I don't get. So if y'all know, fill me in, because I can't figure it out.
They didn't vote for him as a state. New York has been
State of New York. At 1:58 p.m., President Donald Trump tweeted, "Long live the king." Not back down, not now, not ever. Because who are we fighting for here? We're fighting for our residents, our commuters, our riders, our drivers, our emergency personnel. Life has gotten better. Even those who have asthma, people with illness. That's who we're fighting for.
now.
I still don't get it, because she's still talking about congestion pricing. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like, seriously, because how are y'all fighting for that when so listen. I always look at things from more than one side. You got one side that's literally saying, if we charge people to come into the city, it'll decrease people coming in. We still gonna generate revenue, and it'll limit everything. But far as the whole, you fighting for people with asthma, you fighting for the drivers, cab drivers, all, it's like, how? Because they're gonna have to pay to come into the city too. And then on top of that, I haven't been to New York personally, but I know a lot of people. I even met people that moved from New York, and they say the traffic is ridiculous. Like, in order to drive like a mile down the road, it'll take like 30, 45 minutes. That's ridiculous to me. So a lot of people don't even drive. So I'm still trying to understand, like, what are they arguing about and fighting for? Because it seems like Trump is actually helping the citizens while they're not helping the citizens. And I know and we all know, when it comes to politicians, if they can find, especially like with the administration that's been in office, because we've been finding a whole lot of money that's been mismanaged. If they find a way to get money out of people, they're going to do it. And they try to throw a whole bunch of other things in, where it's like, oh, it's for you, it's for the betterment of you, it's helping you. And it's like, how? Like, I don't get it.
I'm not the sharpest knife in the tool shed at all. Not even close. Not even close. But let me ask y'all a question. When you see these politicians get up on these microphones and they say, we're fighting for people that may have asthma.
See?
So you have congestion pricing for the people that have asthma. That is why you have congestion pricing. I just want to make sure that we all on the same page. I want to make sure that we all doing the same thing. I want to make sure that we all on board. You're fighting for the people that have asthma. That's why you have congestion pricing.
Now, Tom Dog, listen. Let's play devil's advocate, right? Because I'm in alliance with what Anton is saying. But let's flip it. Let's say they doing the congestion pricing to decrease the amount of drivers that are coming into New York or in Manhattan, everything below the 60th Street. How is that actually? Because it's like, you got to pay attention to what some people say. They're fighting for people with asthma and all like that. How in the hell is decreasing the cars, which overall, I mean, $9 is not like a lot. $9 is not something that's about to break your pockets, where it's like, oh my God, let's not go down here because it's going to cost us $9 to drive in. How the hell is that going to decrease asthma? Once you got asthma, you kind of like, it's kind of over. You know, like, I got a number of family members. My fiance got asthma, the bronchi, all that. Decreasing charging $9 to supposedly decrease traffic is supposed to help with asthma. Like, you got to really pay attention to what these politicians actually be saying, because a lot of this stuff don't make sense. And it's kind of like, you got to just sit there and just listen and be like, bro, you sound stupid as ish. Like, why you even say this? Like, I can't even stand behind that and campaign behind that with you, man. Like, I don't get it. I do get it, but I don't get it.
I see this is going to be one of them shows. Let me get more comfortable. I'm going to get some water, take my jacket off, and we're going to have a conversation.
And the 6 million people who use the MTA to get to their jobs and their lives and their doctorate, nurses, doctors, EMTs, all the people who need to get to their jobs in a reliable way, they're now going to be affected. So I also have to raise a question. As I look at the pretext for this rejection, and we have a lot of legal reasons why we know we're going to be victorious, but they actually cited the will of New Jersey. New Jersey didn't want this. Ignoring the will, the people who live here, they're elected leaders in Albany, and all of a sudden, the Trump administration is citing, well, New Jersey wasn't happy, okay? I will talk about that later. But here's what I want to also say. I don't care if you love congestion pricing or hate it. This is an attack on our sovereign identity, our independence from Washington. And this is, we are a nation of states. This is what we fought for. This is what people like Alexander Hamilton and others fought for, to set up a system where we are not subservient to a king or anyone else out of Washington. So
I think that the worst.
Hey, she sound like she trying to spark something. I ain't gonna hold you up. We are the United States. Yeah, we are states, but it's the United States. So I'm gonna definitely add the link into the description to finish watching the rest of this. I definitely recommend you go check it out. Make sure you subscribe to Anton channel, the Millionaire Morning Show. Definitely something good to look at. But I want to get to the next subject. Next part